This is old school. It's been 7 months since my last video, and today, September 1st, 2023, I want to share with you an article I came across in Newsweek that really caught my attention. This article was written by Tom Norton on August 23rd, 2023, and the headline says, "Fact Check, Maui Theory About Blue Objects Being Saved from Wildfires is Baseless." Several posts on X, formerly Twitter, and on TikTok claim that blue-colored property and other objects which appear to be less damaged than others in the Maui wildfires. And this Newsweek article further states the Maui wildfires have killed at least 115 people, with 1,100 others missing, and the town of Lahaina on the northwest of the island, Maui, is largely destroyed. The blazes began as scattered brush fires, and a rapid spread, fueled by the lack of humidity and strong winds from Hurricane Dora, turned them into the most lethal wildfires seen in the United States since 2018. Among viral online claims is that blue objects were spared in the destruction of the island of Maui, including the home of talk show host Oprah Winfrey. This theory also bases some of its conclusions on the notion that a blue car and some blue umbrellas did not appear to suffer the same damage as other vehicles in the vicinity of the fire. The X account Wall Street Apes, which regularly posts misleading and inaccurate claims on a wide range of stories, was among the actors that led the charge. So the author of this Newsweek article, Tom Norton, is saying he's doing a fact check on this X, formerly known as Twitter, post, but he does not give us a screenshot to let us see it. He just further states that in a post from August 23rd, 2023, since viewed more than 490,000 times, the account said, "How many coincidences are you willing to accept? Completely untouched blue umbrellas. Completely untouched blue car. And now we find out that Oprah Winfrey's Maui Hawaii mansion has a blue roof. What are the odds? It's amazing." The Maui Lahaina Hawaii fires were a domestic terrorist attack. DEWs, direct energy weapons. The post included a video showing what's claimed to be a property belonging to Winfrey, with the caption, "Anyone else thinking they need a blue roof? Oprah has one." Since Newsweek author Tom Norton failed to give us a screenshot or identify the person who wrote the X post, I found a TikTok video, Maluma Baby's Back 1776. Did this content creator replicate the video on TikTok and X? There are several pictures of blue metal roofs, and it says Oprah has one. The first photo is Oprah's Maui home, and then we kind of wait to watch the video to see which one is her home, and then boom, this big mansion appears and says Lady O, blue roof, extravagant, gardens. As a TikTok content creator, do we really know for sure Maluma Baby's Back 1776 video is actually of Oprah's mansion in Maui on the Hana side, or is it really her McMansion in Montecito, California, near Santa Barbara? As an online detective web sleuth, I didn't really have time to confirm or deny that that was Oprah's mansion on Maui. If anyone in the comments section can provide a source link, that would be greatly appreciated. I did find a British website called loveproperty.com. It states, back in 2001, Oprah was invited to a party at this dreamy estate in the idyllic village of Montecito near Santa Barbara and instantly fell in love with the tranquil 42-acre property, so much so that she used her formidable powers of persuasion to get the owners, Robert and Marlene Veloz, to sell up. The estate wasn't actually on the market and wasted no time writing out a check for almost $52 million, which back then was equivalent to 43 million British pounds. In September 2021, Chinese owned and created TikTok claimed that their app topped 1 billion monthly active users. Anyone in the world can create a TikTok video. It's up to us viewers to fact check and verify if the information presented is fake or accurate. It's often been said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Danny Yuckert has been credited with taking this historical but frighteningly sad and horrific picture of Lahaina Town, Maui fire survivors in 2023. Next, I'm going to show you some of the screenshots I made of content creators' blue items that was mentioned in a Newsweek article. This screenshot of a TikTok video shows a blue car that is in line and got stuck. I think it's on Front Street in Lahaina. Quite astonishingly, this blue vehicle is the only one in this entire picture that still has paint left on its body. Here are those blue umbrellas, and you can see no color anywhere else. Even the green palm trees have been singed. Looking at this group of palm trees, they appear to be at least 20 feet tall. However, those 4 or 5 blue umbrellas to the left, they are much shorter, probably at 10 to 12 feet, even when folded up, and they are closer to ground level. So it's very strange that none of those umbrellas caught any flying red-hot embers to catch on fire. Remember when TikToker Maluma Babies Back 1776 seemed to imply that if you had a blue metal roof, your house would be spared from maybe a laser or directed energy weapon? Well, there was another house that had a red metal roof at 271 Front Street, and Blabber Talk says that the reason why some houses didn't burn was just plain old good luck. That seemed to be confirmed by the owners of this older structure. They recently put a new heavy-duty metal corrugated roof on their property. They also had stones around it instead of grass, and they believe that the palm trees kept in some of the heat from reaching the house and incinerating it. Trip Milliken and his wife own this miracle house, and they hope it will serve as a base for rebuilding Lahaina. The National Public Radio article further stated that Tripp cited a flood of emotions that came with knowing that while his house was spared, his community was gutted. "Our hearts are broken from what's happened," he said. "We love our neighborhood and love our friends, and just cannot believe that the world we knew so well and loved, it's gone forever." It's not easy to explain how or why the house survived a fire that obliterated hundreds of structures around it. Milliken points to 2 big factors: luck and the metal roof he and his wife, Dora Atwater Milliken, installed during recent renovations. I think it's a combination of a commercial-grade corrugated metal roof, the stone area around the house, the palms around the house that absorb the heat, and a lot of divine intervention, he said. The house has roots dating to 1925. It's believed to have been moved from another location on Maui. After Milliken and his wife bought it in 2021, they finished a restoration project in 2022. I need to give a viewer discretion warning advised for the next graphic screenshot I obtained from a TikTok video. So tragic. It shows an elderly man reclined on a blue canvas chair. It's a good possibility that he's already deceased. The chair's darker blue material is almost identical to those blue umbrellas that were unharmed by the fire. And you know that fire had to come up so fast and strong for an animal to not make it to the seawall in Lahaina Harbor. Now the next videos are going to be from YouTube and their personal stories. And the first one is a Maui realtor named Jesse Wald, and he lives in the heart of Lahaina. Jesse's YouTube channel was established in 2015. On his video, Jesse displayed a map where his townhouse is located in the village called Kahoma. And all the red areas where the fire destroyed homes. And he made his video recently as an update to show that he was in the heart of the fire. Now here's a blue car in the parking lot of his Kahoma village. Is this the famous blue Honda that was talked about in the Newsweek article and on TikTok videos and the X post? Wow, it's just weird that it's there by itself in the parking space. No other vehicles around it except for burnt trees. If you count forward 3 spaces, you see another vehicle that's backed in, completely incinerated, to the point that there's burn marks on the cement sidewalk. And then also in his neighborhood, in a different location, there's a charcoal tree leaning to the left, and to the right is a child's battery-powered Jeep toy. And Jesse thinks that some of his neighbors might be trying to remain in their homes, even though that's a bad idea due to the toxic air quality and the contaminated water supply that's probably still turned off. Jesse Wald also stated in his video that his Kahoma townhome community has no overhead electric lines. It's all buried because it's a newer community. You can see the house in this last picture shows a power line, but that's from an older neighborhood, and they have solar panels in his community. This is the back of Jesse's house, and part of his fence got blown down, but when you go across the street, that's the older part of Lahaina, and it got decimated. It's towards the mountainside. And in front of Jesse's house is perfectly fine. He's got his plastic green garbage can out there, no visible damage. But in his video, he talks about an anomaly on part of his house, and he shows us where the anomaly is. It's at the garage door keypad. Anomaly is defined as something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. So can you guess what the anomaly is? Most of you that have a keypad know you have to change the batteries about every 2 years. They can be AA's or 9-volt. So if you guessed what the anomaly is, I'll let you know. If you guessed that it's the missing cover, you're right. Jesse's keypad cover is completely gone. No, it wasn't vandalized. It was charcoaled. It's laying on his cement driveway, completely burnt to a crisp. He called it an anomaly. And he shows the house. That's the only thing in the front that was damaged. And that garage door is made out of metal. And maybe there was a spark that got conducted from the garage door over to the keypad. His neighbor across the street had more damage. Look at the house to the left. The electric meter on the outside of the house looks perfectly fine, But then you go to the right and you see these burn scorch marks and part of the air conditioning unit gone. You can see that the fire came from the backyard, burning the palm tree vegetation and taking out part of the air conditioning unit. The light over the side door is angled 15 degrees to the left, and you see these scorch marks, and they are not at the power meter but came from underground where the electric lines are buried. There had to be power left on in Jesse's neighborhood. Luckily, the fire stopped at the fence here and didn't ignite that electric meter box on the right side. And also in Jesse's neighborhood, you can see the streets are fairly wide. You've got cement driveways, the hardy board, and a lot of vegetation, cement sidewalks, nice young trees. It's about a 2-3-year-old neighborhood. But Jesse noticed a lot of trees were leaning to the left. The winds got over 80 miles an hour, toppling this tree. Someone left a water bottle on top of one of the burned out vehicles. And there's 2 shopping carts, one made out of metal and the other one looks like a Safeway plastic cart. You can see the plastic cup holder and the plastic sign that's on the back of the seat. So not sure if these carts were there during the fire or somebody left them. Now these utility covers indicate electric sparks. And you can see that tree over there to the right got completely charcoaled. And you can see the black marks indicating that those power lines went underneath and fried that tree. And maybe went up and got those vehicles. Keeping with the theme of anomalies and blue items that were left unharmed in the Maui fire, I found a YouTube channel by Geoff Cyngus, and he showed that this blue planter was still intact. Now it's made out of ceramic. I had to screenshot it, then zoom in on it. It's got the number 15 indicating that it was a marker in front of someone's residence. It had some vegetation that's now dead. And Geoff also showed the famous umbrellas from a distance. He said they were actually Tommy Bahama umbrellas. And then he showed this blue canvas type of material. I had to zoom in. It looks like a blue lounge chair with some canvas material and a plastic frame. So it survived the fire. Geoff said that he saw significant differences of things that melted in the Lahaina fire. The neighborhoods were different from one to the other. Engine blocks had melted and ran into the street like water. Now, TikTok videos also show some blue anomalies, like this boat in the Lahaina harbor, fairly large. It's behind a blue building with a corrugated metal roof. Looks like the name of the boat is Atlantis. It's got a blue painted bottom. Look at the pier where the Atlantis is tied to. It's charcoaled in the water. Daniel Benitez created this TikTok video on August the 10th, when the morning she came back into the Lahaina harbor. You can also see where these temporary buoys are. They were used to tie up boats overnight. Now they look like round charcoal balls. The last YouTube content creator I'm going to feature in this film is Eric West. He was outside on the night of the fire documenting its devastation. And then the next day, Eric and his sons and friends got on their dirt bikes and rode all over Lahaina Town, giving out street names and showing what was down with the power lines. Because they are Maui locals, they arrived on the scene before law enforcement and FEMA and Department of Homeland Security. They went and checked out a friend's house to look for a safe. They gave out street names. They showed all the devastation before it could be cleared away. which provides great historical documentation and proof of the incredible tragedy and the intensity of the fire. While walking on Front Street in Lahaina Town, Eric came upon a stack of folded blue t-shirts that did not get burned or scorched. One even had a price tag attached. Eric might auction them off as a fundraiser if he gets the store owner's approval. Not everything in Lahaina Town was pulverized and burnt to a crisp. 2023 started out weird and wacky. On January 28, 2023, there was breaking news reported by Channel 2 in Honolulu. There were several Chinese green satellite lasers beaming over the state of Hawaii, and how they found out was through help of the Japanese Subaru telescope, located over Mauna Kea and operated by NAO. And they found a most likely candidate, the ACDL instrument used by the Chinese AMS satellite. To confirm the Subaru telescope's observations, experts reached out to astronomer Roy Gao, and he believed that the Chinese satellite is picking up environmental data only. However, this was disputed by retired Marine Chief of Staff of the Pacific, Ray Hero, and he believes that that satellite using lasers was mapping the state of Hawaii for military purposes. Who do you believe is most accurate in their assessment of the Chinese satellite with laser technology? A University of Hawaii astronomer or a former Marine Forces Pacific Chief of Staff Commander? In their laser video, Keihan Channel 2 also reported that the Chinese spy balloon was shot down by the United States on February the 4th, 2023 over the Atlantic Ocean. If you watch my previous made Red Zeppelin YouTube video, you will find out I was a personal eyewitness at the indoor flea market located right beside the Rollover Bakery in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is located on Highway 17. There's 2 lanes in each direction. Earlier in the morning on February the 4th, the FAA closed down 3 major airports in Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston. No one in our vehicle received emergency alerts. There was no police or military presence in North Myrtle Beach. As we pulled into the parking lot, we could see the jet contrails and the spy balloon up in the sky. My brother-in-law took his video at 2:20 p.m. and you can see that there were power lines and people outside looking up because the balloon looked like a white giant beach ball, and all the cell phone could pick up was the contrails. And of course, you know by now the F-22 shot down the spy balloon over the Atlantic Ocean in South Carolina in only 14 feet of water. As an American citizen on the ground, I felt like we could have been collateral damage. We had no police protection, no warning. 5 years earlier, in 2018, the Chinese tested one of their high-altitude balloons equipped with 3 hypersonic missiles. Carrying a payload over 2,000 pounds, the Chinese could have easily steered their spy balloon into the ground at Myrtle Beach, hitting those electric lines and killing many innocent bystanders. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski noted that while we're ready to defend the U.S. and Alaska, it's like this Biden administration doesn't think Alaska is part of the rest of the country. The U.S. sent a clear message to China, you've got free range in Alaska. Why didn't the U.S. shoot down the Chinese spy balloon over the Aleutian Islands before even entering Alaska? Well, they gave an answer. The U.S. military decided not to shoot down the Chinese spy balloon over Alaska because the recovery of the downed balloon would have been much riskier. The Biden administration faced intense criticism over its decision to allow the surveillance balloon to fly over the United States for nearly a week before it was shot down in the Atlantic Ocean over the South Carolina coast. The decision was made because of the risk to civilians on the ground. But lawmakers who have been increasingly frustrated over the decision have questioned why it couldn't have been brought down when it was over water on Alaska's coast. A few weeks later, Melissa Dalton, who's the Assistant Secretary for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs, gave the real reason. A key piece of this is the recovery. For us to be able to exploit and understand the Chinese balloon and its capabilities fully, if we had taken it down over the state of Alaska, it would have been a very different recovery operation. She testified at a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense hearing. Conditions off Alaska's Aleutian Islands are very dangerous compared to those on the coast of South Carolina because the water depths in the Bering Sea quickly plunge from 150 feet to 18,000 feet. Winter water temperatures are in the low 30s and some parts are even colder. So there you have it. The U.S. government was willing to risk the lives of innocent people on the ground so that they could bring down the Chinese spy balloon and exploit and understand its capabilities. Those of us that have a moral compass need to handle journalism with care. You see it, you report it. Always credit the photographer if photos were taken. Prime example is CNN, who published Everything Was on Fire August the 18th, 2023. They used that historical picture of two people watching Lahaina Town burn, but CNN failed to give proper credit to the man who actually took the photo. Other websites have done the similar thing using this historical photo, and the man who took the video is Alan Dickar. MSNBC recognized him and used his video with different scenes that he captured as he was fleeing for his life. And so we must always give credit where credit is due. Content creators who have monetized channels will receive strikes if they do not follow copyright laws. The majority of people make videos because they want to increase their subscribers and make money from all the views of people who watch the videos. The film clips I referenced in this video can be found in the links below. Has the information presented in this video changed your mind about blue objects being the ones saved from wildfires in Maui? Do you think it's baseless? Has anyone watched the video where a laser zaps different colors of cloth but skips over the blue one, and how laser weapons can be programmed for different wavelengths? I remember reading about it in science books, and here we are today wondering if lasers can be used in space and pointed to the ground. In April 2019, there was an article written entitled Unleash Directed Energy Weapons, and it was written by Captain George Caladorsi, a U.S. Navy officer retired. He states directed energy weapons could provide the U.S. military with its biggest technological advantage ever. It is time to make the big bets that will put them in the hands of warfighters. The era of U.S. technological dominance is over. Indeed, in many areas, including military technology, the gap has narrowed to parity or near parity. Nations such as Russia and China as well as countries in which these nations proliferate weapons, are deploying advanced weapons that demonstrates many of the same technological strengths that traditionally have provided a basis for U.S. advantage. In response, the Department of Defense initiated a third offset strategy that sought to asymmetrically compensate for a disadvantaged position. Rather than competing head-to-head in an area where an adversary may possess significant strength, an offset strategy seeks to shift the axis of competition through the introduction of new operational concepts and technologies toward one in which the United States has a significant and sustainable advantage. The third offset strategy focused heavily on artificial intelligence and machine learning. These technologies offer great promise, and when fully deployed, they will provide U.S. forces the ability to operate at machine speed. However, they are enablers, not weapons. They will not be enough to compensate for potential adversaries' advantages in time, space, and force size, especially when the United States is playing an away game. What if the U.S. military had offensive and defensive weapons that could operate not just at machine speed, but at light speed? If the United States wants to regain technological dominance in the battle space, it must embrace a fourth offset strategy built on one of the most disruptive military technologies to emerge in some time: directed energy weapons. U.S. Navy Captain George Caldorisi wrote that article 4 years ago in 2019, and you can bet that our adversaries have satellite lasers in the sky that are silent weapons for quiet wars. The devastating 80-mile-per-hour winds that hit Lahaina Town came out of nowhere like some horror movie in an apocalyptic film, and you can bet that our adversaries have the technology to control weather and to beam lasers from satellites, destroying towns and cities. And just when you think the Maui fire couldn't have been more devastating and evil, we now have news that napalm-like injuries have been seen when they were searching for survivors. Michael Havoc Thomas, a military veteran who owns and operates Havoc, a private rescue and training company in Hawaii, gave a harrowing description of the reality of the devastation. The news will not be able to show you the real survivors or the real victims. It's very World War II flamethrowers and Vietnam napalm-like. That is not an exaggeration. Michael Thomas said he had debriefed with a team leader whose tactical gear smelled like burning flesh. When I hugged him, I smelled him. Honestly, I can only compare it to experiences from the military. I never had to fight a fire before, so I can only tell you it's like doing a BDA after spooky levels and objective. The smells of burning metal and flesh on the gear he was carrying from dragging people out of some of the rubble. Majority is too hot to touch. His boots and other rubber equipment were melted and unserviceable. The tears and smeared residue of dirt on his face tell a story he hasn't been able to comprehend yet. Please financially support and pray for the fire victims in Lahaina Town, Maui, Hawaii.